You are listening to We Are the Compassionate Revolution. I'm your podcast host, therapist, author, boundaries guide, Molly Moon. If you are a compassionate person and you want to know your worth, set better boundaries, live from your truth, and operate in your fullness, then I am so glad you've joined us. You ready? Let's get started. When I was growing up, my dad loved the Chicago Bears football team. Growing up in Alaska means you don't have a state football team or basketball team or baseball team. So we just got to pick whatever teams we liked. When I was a kid, even though I really liked playing sports, I never liked watching sports, yet it was still this rite of passage that you were supposed to have these teams that you identified with. To be honest, I initially went for who I thought had the coolest uniforms. I remember liking the Cincinnati Bengals for a while because they had really cool helmets, but eventually I switched over to the Chicago Bears because my dad liked them. So I heard about them more, and they had this player named The Fridge. How cool is that? And I also still remember that song, the Bears are gonna win the Super Bowl. I just have these fond memories wrapped around all of that. In fact, if you ask me now who my favorite football team is, I'll still say the Chicago Bears, even though I don't even watch sports. In fact, a football-loving friend of mine once asked me, "Why do you still like them? They haven't been doing well in a while. Don't you want to switch to a different team?" And I was like, what? How they're doing is irrelevant. That's my team. Now, I have a point in all of this. I promise. I'm bringing up sports teams because there's some information here that is very relevant to our times and to some of the unique boundary-related challenges you might be experiencing as a compassionate person in the wider world right now. Because there's a unique psychological phenomenon of group identification that is easily observed when studying humans who love watching sports. Now, the phenomenon itself exists everywhere you find humans, anywhere there are groups. But it's really easy to see it when you focus in on sports teams. Of note, this human phenomenon is used against us. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And you become empowered to not get tricked by it, to not get stuck in it, and to understand what's going on when you see someone else stuck in it, which is exactly why I wanted to talk about this today. The psychology of having a favorite athletic team is interesting because if you think about it, and you can use your own personal experiences with this if you have a favorite sports team, or you can use some examples from someone you love who's super into a favorite team. But here's the deal. Once you pick a favorite athletic team, it kind of doesn't matter what they do. If you go to their game, you're going to cheer for them. Maybe you might get upset about a draft pick or what play the coach told the team to do or this decision or that decision, but it's mostly in minor ways because in all the major ways you are loyal to that team. Therefore, when push comes to shove, they can do no wrong. And at the very same time, when you turn your gaze to their competitors, they can do no right. I have raised 5 kids, so I have been to a lot of sports activities, a lot. And I'll never forget being in the stands with some moms at one of my son's hockey games. And some of these moms are literally cheering when their kid wipes out another kid on the ice. I actually remember this one moment so strongly because I had just completed a whole training on traumatic brain injuries, and then I have to go keep score at this hockey game, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh. I just have head injuries on my mind. I see it everywhere. And wait, we're supposed to be cheering for this? But you end up getting into whatever sport it is, you end up getting into it. to the point where you can have moms cheering about another kid being slammed into the ice. But our team sure isn't cheering when the other team slams into one of our kids, right? We humans get attached to our teams, to our group. And we can get so attached that we can accidentally merge our identity with the object of our attachment. And in the process, we can go against our own values. Because when you attach yourself to a team, it changes how you perceive your reality. Think about it using basketball as an example. In basketball, right? If you're not attached to a team or any outcome, then if you see a basketball player shoot a basket and the ball goes through the hoop, you might clap and say, wow, well done. But if you are attached to a team, suddenly the simple act of shooting and making a basket is no longer about making a basket. Now it's about who made the basket. Was it somebody on your team? Then yay! You are suddenly so happy. Your mood is elated, you're smiling big, you might even involuntarily jump up and yell with joy. But if the basket was just made instead by somebody on the other team, that changes everything. Your stomach sinks, you're frustrated, you might groan or make some noise of protest without even realizing you're doing it. You actually wish they'd stop doing so well. But keep in mind here, the only thing that actually happened in objective reality is that a human being threw a ball into the hoop and it went in. But because you are aligned with a team, that is not what just happened for you in your reality. You just had an entire physiological and psychological response to that basket being made because you are invested in a team and a game. Therefore, your perception about what is happening is altered. It's no longer about making a basket, it's about your team beating their team. So, you do not want to see the other team do well, because if the other team's doing well, it means your team's probably losing. So in a way, while you are cheering for your team, you are now also, literally, cheering for the other team not to do well. Cheering for them to fail. It's just competition. And don't get me wrong, competition is fun. I enjoy it. Competition has a place. Competitive games, I don't know, they can be really fun if you like that sort of thing, but there are boundaries that must go with them, or it stops being fun real quick. And it can even start getting dangerous. We have to remember when we pick a team that it's just a game. It's not actually real. Now, here's another interesting psychological feature of this identification phenomenon. When we identify with a team, we will adopt a pair of rose-colored glasses for whatever they do, but be very aware, perhaps hyper-aware of all the faults related to the other team. We will moralize everything our team does in a positive direction. So, for example, when your favorite team has a player who does something amazing, you might say, "Oh, that's so good. Just look at how hard they worked. Look at how dedicated they are." And this can fool us into thinking that what we're really valuing here is hard work, or that what we're really valuing here is dedication, but hold up. Because we are not cheering for the other team when they work hard or are dedicated. We actually wish they'd stop working so hard because now our team might not win. So when it comes to humans cheering for their favorite sports teams, even though often language of values and morality are brought in, it's actually not really about true values or true morality. It's more about loyalty to your team. This is a human thing, and also, by the way, this is not against sports. Playing sports, having favorite teams, that can be fun to do. Games, sports, competitions can be healthy, can be fun, can be playful. And there are a lot of really good and positive things that these sorts of things bring to humans. Actually, athletic competitions are something humans have loved across time, across history, across the globe. But what I'm talking about here is more so the boundaries of our identification, the deep inner boundaries of our sense of self, and knowing those well. If we know who we are, then from that vantage point, group identification can be healthy, fun, useful, pro-relational, pro-human because it has boundaries. In sports, there's this thing called good sportsmanship. And that's a word that basically means the humans agree to play the sport with the intent to win, yes, or to try to win, but they will do so following the rules of the game and treat all other players with basic respect. Good sportsmanship is remembering that the game is an agreement to temporarily suspend reality and pretend that the game is real. But at the end of the day, the game is actually just a game, so our principles and our values come first. And that keeps the game fun and meaningful and overall life-giving to the humans. But without healthy boundaries intact, group identification can turn real ugly real fast. And you can see this all through history. In any type of group or movement, anytime a human merges their self-identity with that of the group, and if that group is going in a toxic direction, oh no. And we can see this at work in the micro, and we can see this at work in the macro. And predators manipulate this. They work it, they promote it, they even count on it. Because when humans merge their identity into a group, something really wild happens to the human's own internal value system. Because their own individual values move down into a secondary status, sometimes going offline. And loyalty to that group becomes the primary value. Are you still with me? Understanding this phenomenon is so relevant to our times right now. But back to sports. Let's stick with basketball for a second. Back to that basket made by the basketball player. So when you are identified with your favorite team, it's not about the basket that just got made. It's instead about who made the basket. Making a basket is not a good thing if the other team does it. So let's apply this very same phenomenon to the national stage, because it is this very same phenomenon that is happening on a national scale here where I live. Hey, my friends. I firmly believe that the common struggles we compassionate people face are often doorways, pointing us to the hidden beliefs that so many times keep us stuck. So if overgiving or people-pleasing or guilt around boundaries has been holding you back, I created something to help. It's called the Boundaries Breakthrough mini course, and right now, it's totally free. So if you feel the tug to grow in your boundaries journey, this is for you. You can start today at boundary.com/breakthrough. And if you're interested in coming to work with me more closely, the mini course is a wonderful way to dip your toe in the water, get some real help, and if you want to continue with me after that, then cool. I would love that. Boundary.com/breakthrough. It's really good stuff. Have fun. Many of you have people that you thought had a personal value of caring about justice and fair play. And you are watching those people support somebody who is engaging in abusive actions, who is breaking the agreed upon rules, who is openly laughing about injustice, delighting in violence against people he doesn't like, and bragging about how he has no intention of playing fair. And you are like, wait, how can this person that I know be okay with all of this? Because what's happening totally goes against what my loved one used to stand for. In fact, it goes against what they claim to stand for now, but they can't see it. Understanding this phenomenon can help you so much understand what is happening to them. They got sucked in to this phenomenon. They are in a stadium, so to speak, like a sports arena, and to them, in their perception, it's one team against the other team, and they are fully caught up in the game, and they have forgotten it's not actually real, and there's a world outside of this game. Now, this is also where the sports metaphor stops, because all metaphors can only go so far, and unfortunately, in this case, even though the game of politics is something that humans have made up, the damage is terribly, terribly, terribly real. But as long as this phenomenon has folks in its grip, they will think they are on the side of justice. Even though they only care about justice when it's justice for their side, they won't see that. This phenomenon blinds humans to our own hypocrisy because it's not about fair play. When it's one side against the other, it's only about fair play when it's in the interest of that team. It's now about that team winning and the other team losing. It's not about the truth. It's about winning. Therefore, the only value that really matters most when someone gets fully sucked in is loyalty. And that is deeply unboundaried. Because our true boundaries as humans, the boundaries that provide the humans with the best possible opportunity to enjoy a wonderful life, our true boundaries as humans are all about honoring humans and treating each other with kindness. Our true boundaries are honor self, honor others. But they are not playing a game, quote, quote, based on creating a healthy world for humans. They're playing a different game, which is a game of sides. And that's where I want to bring sports back in and give you some hope. Because this whole thing only works if everybody plays along. Now, think about this in terms of football. And we could use any sport here, but I'll just pick on football for a minute. When you step back and think about football from the outside, if you were to look on, maybe as aliens from another planet, football is really silly. There's some leather or plastic stitched up to form this ball shape, and people got together literally and made up rules. The humans made up all the rules for this whole game. They decided how it would work, made it all up, but in order for it to be fun, in order for it to work and feel real, all the humans who want to engage in the game have to collectively buy into the fact that the rules they just made up are real. Now, they're not real. Football's not real. But it is real if we believe it's real. And so when we all gather to watch or play a football game with a collective belief that it is real, then the fans and the players literally have the chemicals in their body altered because we have together suspended our belief. So our emotions rise up. Oh, they fall. We have cortisol. We have adrenaline. We have joy, elation, sorrow, despair. All because we are participating in something that we made up but collectively agreed for this period of time we're going to pretend that this is real. We together choose to believe this game is true, the rules are real, and the outcome matters, and because of that, we all get to enjoy the experience of the game. And if you don't do that, the game can't even happen. If only one person says we want to decide to believe this is real, football wouldn't exist. But if a collective does it, it exists. And everybody gets to have fun and have a thrill and excitement and this whole experience. Watch the crowd the next time you go to a game with this in mind. All of the humans are having a very real experience because they are playing the game together. It's literally not real, but it became real to them, and then it became a real experience. Now, when does this cross the line? Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with the game of football, playing the game of football, enjoying this experience together, right? When does it cross the line? It crosses the line when the humans forget it's not actually ultimate truth. When the humans forget that this is actually something the humans made up for fun. It crosses the line when we become so identified with the game that we think it's real, the realest thing there is, the ultimate truth. That is when humans begin sacrificing their own values and morality, all to the cause of a team winning. That's when people cheat. That's when all sorts of awful stuff can happen. So, if you loved your sports team and you found out your sports team, say, was cheating, are you going to justify it because you love that team? Are you going to look the other way, pretend you didn't know about it? Or are you going to say, hey, I love my team, but that's not okay, and they need to be held accountable? Fix this up, folks. This isn't okay. Our answer to that question helps us find out if we're engaged in this with this group in a healthy way, or we're engaged in this group in a way that is deeply unboundaried. And another simple way to ask the same question is, does your loyalty come first, or do your principles? Does your loyalty come first, or do your values? Healthy boundaries show us our principles and our values come first. Otherwise, what is the point of anything? Love must come first, or why are we even doing it? And love doesn't excuse or enable bad behavior. Love can have compassion for it, sure, but it doesn't excuse it, and there is a difference. Now, back to the more general concept of over-identification with a group and the unbounded belief that loyalty to one's group is the highest law. Because when that happens, there is no accountability. When loyalty comes before everything else, that means there's no accountability. Loyalty is not supposed to be the highest law in the human heart. Love is. But if you have a loved one right now who is supporting a leader or group that is engaging in increasingly scary and violent behaviors, abusing power, justifying bad behavior, lying, and all manner of other things, if you don't understand this principle, it can make zero sense. Because when you're not identified with a particular group, it just looks legitimately bad. But from the lens of someone who is identified with that group in an unboundaried way, they are fully invested. They have forgotten that the world is a big and beautiful place, and that we humans can create systems and practices that honor our fellow humans. But instead, they're fully invested in this idea that they're on a team and you're on an opposing team, and so we have to fight, and no matter what their team does, it's right. And this is why, if you try to talk with them about what's happening, even if you make the world's most brilliant and logical argument, as long as they are still fully identified with their team and they view team loyalty as the highest thing, all your long-winded words will make them fight harder. You arguing with them is going to make them try even harder to score a point back, because in this moment, they're not seeing you as a fellow human. They're seeing you as an opponent who's not wearing their team's colors. So you're bad. And most likely nothing you can say is going to change that. And if you get upset with them about it, then the more you will confirm for them that their reality is true. Because see, you're clearly the bad one. So how do you help them? On a personal level, each of us has unique context and many nuances in our life. But the general answer that we can then take and experiment with applying in our own life is to stop playing that game. Get off that playing field. Don't get into a sides war. When we stop arguing with them from a position of sides, we actually start moving into the most powerful thing of all that we can do. Because when we argue from a position of sides, then they only see you as the enemy. Because they're stuck in their unboundaried loyalty to their side. So the most powerful thing we can do is hop out of sides and just be love. Love breaks through illusions. And when I say be love, I do not mean being passive. Love asks us to stand up for justice, stand up for human rights. Love can look a variety of different ways. Our job is simply to be love, whatever that looks like for us, wherever we are. Be love. All of us together. And the more and more of us that begin to start standing for love, we end up creating a stronger and stronger mirror. And when they are ready and able to see, they will. And until then, they won't. And that's not our job. Our job is to be love in the way that we are called to do it, because that is how we change the world. This message is not at all anti-groups. When I say we need to step out of a sides war, I don't mean that we can't have groups that we love. Healthy groups are powerful things. So you might have a particular group or 2 or 10 that you love belonging to because you feel those groups are supportive of your values and they're honoring and they're working for love in the way that each particular group is here to do. And I want to say good. Humans need groups. Healthy groups are powerful things. And healthy groups have boundaries. You know a healthy group because it operates in honoring ways. And in our groups, we get to model how to be part of a group or a movement or a political party or whatever it is from a healthy place, which means we can enjoy being part of the group, but we don't fall into that trap of accidentally merging with it, having our identity merge with it to the point where we begin putting group loyalty above our values. We get to stand in our group because of our values, instead of being in a group and having to sacrifice our values. And this also means then, if we are in a group and that group does something shitty, we can call it out lovingly and help that group get back on track. We get to model healthy accountability and change. That's part of what our world needs to see and to experience. That's part of our collective healing. So don't be afraid of that if that happens. Just know, hey, it's part of the process. This is about humans becoming love. We can do this. We are learning, we are growing, we are doing it. And we're doing it because humans are worthy of being treated with basic respect. That is a boundary. That is a principle. That is a value. And together, we are helping to create a world where that becomes the new normal. And the world we are creating together includes you, too. As I wind down the podcast episode for today, I just want to give you that loving reminder, because we compassionate folks can forget about this. We're so good at giving love to everybody else. But you are worthy of basic respect. You are worthy of love. Don't forget that. If love is the way, and it is, then you are worthy of the same love you so easily give to everybody else. Thank you for joining me today. My compassionate friend, I am so glad you're with us. We are the compassionate revolution. We are the change the world needs, and we're becoming it. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend or give this podcast a 5-star review. I'd appreciate it so much. And if you'd like to get practical and work with me more closely on boundaries, you can come visit me at Unboundaried.com. That's boundaried with a D.com for amazing resources. Because this is how we do it. One action at a time. We are moving into our power. And I'm so proud to be in this movement with you.